Hey my Linians, Teacher Darwin here. Today's video lesson is all about the topic Respiratory and Circulatory System Working Together. This video lesson is based on your activity sheet, Quarter 1, Week 1, and your learner's material, pages 1 to 14. So, it is best for you to have your activity sheet beside you and to have your book open. But, a friendly reminder, do not write anything on your activity sheet or your book. So, just watch and learn and let the knowledge flow. Our learning target for this topic is to explain how the respiratory and circulatory system works together in order to transport nutrients, gases, and other molecules to, in, and from the different parts of the body. To test our prior knowledge about the topic, let us have a series of warm-up questions. For question number 1, give one part of the respiratory system. Your timer starts now. Time's up. Well, your answer was so wonderful. The parts of the respiratory system that you can mention are the lungs, nose, mouth, trachea, bronchial tubes, bronchioles, and alveoli. Let us now proceed to question number 2. What is the purpose of the circulatory system? Your timer starts now. Time's up. Wow, that's one great answer. One function of the circulatory system is to transport oxygen throughout the body by pumping blood. When we talk about the respiratory system, we are talking about respiration. And there are two processes involving respiration. Number 1 is the release of energy from food, in which we use as oxygen as energy and releases carbon dioxide as a waste product. Then number 2 is the exchange of gases within our cells and the atmosphere. And we will focus about the exchange of gases. So what happens during respiration? During respiration, our body is doing the process called gas exchange. But what gases are being exchanged? Do you have a hint? That's right. The gases that are being exchanged inside our body are oxygen and carbon dioxide. We breathe in oxygen and we breathe out carbon dioxide. And now, to understand further about gas exchange, let us discuss about the parts of the respiratory system. We will discuss the parts that is flashed on your screen one by one. To start with, let us start with the nose and the mouth. Kindly take 2 pictures. It's so good to have a nose like that. Now kindly take a look at the mouth. Does it resemble yours? The nose is called the nasal cavity. The main purpose of the nasal cavity is to filter the air. That is why you have tiny hairs inside your nose. Then the oral cavity serves as passageway for air, but most of the time it serves as passageway for our food. The next part is the epiglottis. Kindly take a look at the picture about me. Do you think of something? That is the epiglottis. It's just like a flexible flap that is found in our throat. Have you ever wondered why the food that you eat does not go in your lungs? Or the air that you breathe does not go to your stomach? Well, that is because of the epiglottis. Epiglottis sorts food from air. That is why your food goes to your pharynx and the air goes through your larynx. Now that we have mentioned the pharynx and the larynx, let us discuss the two. Pharynx serves as a passage of food. How about the larynx? Well, that's a creepy creature for a larynx, right? The larynx is called the voice box because the larynx holds the vocal cords in which those cords vibrates for you to produce sound. Or else, else, those are the words that you speak. Now let us proceed to the trachea. Take a look at that part. Now take a look at that crazy animation on the left part of your screen. Well, the trachea is called the windpipe. And the windpipe is made up of bones called cartilages. And look at that monk on the left side of your screen. He has an iron cartilage. Don't try that at home. More information about the lungs. The left lung is bigger than the right lung. Well, the left lung has 3 lobes, and the right lung only has 2. Well, think of your lungs as a balloon. It will expand if it will be filled up by air, and it will be flattened if it is not filled with air. Kindly take a look at that healthy lung and compare it to a smoker's lung. On our next topic, next week, we will be discussing about how to maintain a healthy lung and how to avoid a smoker's lung. Let us now proceed to the bronchial tubes. The bronchial tubes let air in and out of your lungs. You can just call them bronchi or simply bronchial. You have 2 lungs, so therefore, you also have 2 bronchial tubes. Now, we have what we call bronchioles. Well, bronchioles are small branches of the bronchial tubes. They are found inside your lungs, and they look like tiny networks of roots. Now let us have the alveoli. Alveoli are found on every end of the bronchioles. Well, they are like a bunch of ribs at those very end of the bronchioles. The alveoli serves a special function. They facilitate what we call gas exchange. It is where the carbon dioxide and oxygen goes because alveoli contains blood vessels. Alveoli is the link between the respiratory and the circulatory system. Let us have now the next system that works together with the respiratory system to maintain balance inside our body, and that is the circulatory system. To begin with, let us identify its function. The first function of the circulatory system is for transporting substances throughout the body with a network of what we call blood vessels. Then, its second function is for controlling the body temperature, and lastly, it functions to protect our body from foreign materials and other diseases. We have mentioned blood vessels a while ago, so let us talk about blood vessels. There are 3 types of blood vessels, and to easily identify it, let us have them color-coded. Those red blood vessels are called arteries. They are red because they are carrying oxygenated blood, blood that contains oxygen. Arteries carries blood away from the heart. Then we have what we call veins. Veins are those which are colored blue. Veins are carrying the oxygenated blood, and they carry blood back to the heart. Then we have the capillary. The capillary is found in between the artery and the vein because it is the capillary that interchanges the two and that processes both oxygen and carbon dioxide. Let us now discuss about the main organ of the circulatory system, which is the heart. The heart pumps blood throughout our body. The heart is divided into 4 chambers. To easily identify it, let us have the upper chamber, which is called the atrium. The atrium is divided into 2, the right atrium and the left atrium. Then we have the lower chamber called ventricle. The ventricle is also divided into 2, the left ventricle and the right ventricle. It is the left ventricle that pumps blood throughout our body. Well, if you have 4 chambers of your heart, then you can love 4, right? Family, friends, God, and a special person in life. Aside from the chambers, here are some other important parts of the heart. The walls of the heart is made up of cardiac muscles. Then, the walls dividing the heart into a left and a right side is called the septum. Inside the heart, you will also find valves. Valves prevent the backflow of the blood. For example, the semilunar valves prevent the blood which is pumped out by the heart to going back inside the heart. Then, the tricuspid and the bicuspid valve prevents the blood which is found on the upper atrium to going back or flowing back into the lower ventricle of the heart. Now that we have discussed the organs that comprises the circulatory and the respiratory system together with their functions, let us try to understand how these two systems work together in order to maintain the balance inside our body. To better understand the process that will be flashed shortly in your screen, we have this colored coded. Color blue is the oxygenated blood. Blood that does not contain oxygen. Color red is oxygenated blood. Blood that does contain oxygen. The arrows represents the flow of the oxygenated and the deoxygenated blood. Well, there is no definite start or finish to this process. This process continues as long as you live. But for now, let us have the first step. To begin, let us start inside the heart. Inside the left part of the heart is a deoxygenated blood, which is colored blue. Those deoxygenated blood is pumped out of the heart through the pulmonary artery. And from the pulmonary artery, it will go through inside the lungs. Inside the lungs, those deoxygenated blood will be oxygenated. So, the color blue will turn into color red, indicating that this blood is already oxygenated. Then, the oxygenated blood will be carried back to the heart, passing through the pulmonary vein. Now, inside the right part of the heart are oxygenated blood. This oxygenated blood will be pumped out of the heart with high pressure by the aorta. The oxygenated blood that is pumped out of the heart will now go to the different cells of the body. The different cells in the body will now get the oxygenated blood. So, the oxygenated blood will now lose its oxygen and turns back into deoxygenated blood. Then, the deoxygenated blood will go back to the heart, to the left side of the heart, through the vena cava. We have three different types of circulation. All of this circulation involves oxygenated and deoxygenated blood. First type of circulation is called pulmonary circulation. In simple explanation, pulmonary circulation involves the lungs. The second type of circulation is called the systemic circulation. In simple explanation, the systemic circulation involves the blood from going through the different cells of the body. Then, the last kind of circulation is called the coronary circulation. This type of circulation is confined within the walls of the heart. And to generalize this lesson, and to check if you have learned something from this video lesson, let us have these questions. For question number 1, where does gas exchange takes place? And what gases are being exchanged? Your timer starts now. Your answer is correct. Gas exchange takes place in the alveoli. During gas exchange, we take in oxygen and breathe out carbon dioxide. For question number 2, how will you distinguish the different types of circulation? Your timer starts now. Wow, your answers are wonderful. I think you have mastered this lesson. That's right. You can distinguish the three different types of circulation by simply saying that pulmonary circulation involves carrying blood through the lungs. systemic circulation involves carrying blood to the different cells of the body. Then, coronary circulation is simply saying that blood is being circulated within the walls of the heart. With the knowledge that you have learned about the circulatory and the respiratory system, I think you are now ready to go to the enrichment part of your activity sheet. Again, as a reminder, do not write anything on your activity sheet. Your answer must be written on a separate sheet of a long bond paper. For enrichment activity number 1, Bale's challenge. All you have to do is take a look at that picture. Then, identify the different parts of the respiratory system. Enrichment activity number 2 is called Alice's challenge. In this activity, all you have to do is take a look at the diagram below. Then, just write what is the missing word or the missing function. I know you can do it. It's as easy as 1, 2, 3. For enrichment activity number 3, you have Bill and Alice main. This is an easy activity. All you have to do is to draw the main organ of the respiratory system for Bill and draw the main organ of the circulatory system for Alice. For enrichment activity number 4, Bill and Alice together, you will need to read the paragraphs inside the boxes below. Then, you will have to identify the words that is missing by filling out the blanks. Those words that are missing will complete the process on how the circulatory and the respiratory system works together. Wow, we are nearing now to the end. Now let us wrap this activity by answering these 2 questions. So what's the outcome of your study? What do you think? It's for you to decide. Hey, my Linians! If you have any question about the topic on this video lesson, you can write it on the comment section below or personally message me in my Facebook account. You can also post your question in the Mepiap National High School official Facebook page. If you love this video, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel and also click the notification bell for more updates. Thank you and see you on the next video.